All right, let me just tilt it a bit more because I can't really get my camera back much further than that. All right, I think that I have definitely achieved a better result with this. It's no longer has balance issues. This is definitely the hero, this tree here. This has now been pushed a little bit further into that distance, which is not taking away as much attention from that tree. The light is much more prominent and happier. Sometimes you just have to start again.
Yeah, I painted over it. This is what it ended up looking like. I don't think this is the finished version, but this is pretty close to finished. Okay, so why? Several reasons. One, I still wasn't happy with it. And the other reason was that it needed to go into this exhibition that I was doing, and it really didn't fit in with the vibe of the rest of the paintings or the colours of the rest of the paintings. So I ended up revisiting it and basically repainting the whole thing to fit better in with what I had already created for the exhibition. That's what it boiled down to. And so this is a few weeks after that, and this is down at the gallery in Tarwin, which is down near Inverloch in Victoria. I found this little thing amusing. Obviously, it's meant to say no alcohol to be consumed, but you can consume alcohol there, so they removed the no. Anyway, this is the install of the exhibition that I was doing with my mother. My mother is a ceramics artist. She has been an artist since well before I was born, and creates beautiful ceramics. And so she had an exhibition planned for this space, and I had an exhibition planned for this gallery earlier in next year, around February, but ended up bumping in a bit earlier and doing a show with my mum instead. So I had all the stuff on the walls, and then Mum had all of her ceramics on plinths and pedestals. And so this is us setting up. We spent the afternoon and a little bit of the following morning getting everything ready. We enlisted the help of my father to hang everything because he is a lot more pedantic about things being even and level than I am, and he's a lot better at working that out than I am, so I just let him do the hanging. I just laid things out where I wanted them and said, put them there, Dad, and he did. And did a fantastic job of making everything nice and level and looking straight and perfect. So, yeah, that looks really good. And yeah, these are some of Mum's ceramics. She does a lot of raku firing, and plays around with a lot of interesting glazes and feathers and horsehair and all sorts of fun things. She does hand building as well. Those were some whales that she's hand built. These are some of her vessels that she has created with different glazing effects in what's it called? Sagar fired. That's what it is. Yeah, so she has beautiful stuff. And yeah, these are the artworks. I'm going to do like a full walkthrough of the exhibition in a minute, and so you'll be able to see everything as if you were walking through the gallery, because this is quite a remote gallery. This one, it's about nearly an hour and a half-ish out of Melbourne, down in South Gippsland near the coast. It's a very small beachy holiday town, so it's quite a bit out of the way. So that's why I decided to do a proper walkthrough, just to show people that aren't going to get down to this gallery. Totally understandable. If you are in the area of Melbourne though, pop on in. They're open Friday, Saturday and Sunday. This exhibition runs until the 28th of December. So every weekend it'll be open and you can come down and have a look at everything. And this is my son as well, helping Pop hang things. He was very, very helpful. And yeah, so yeah, you can come down and have a look at the gallery. And if you are in the area and you're popping in and having a look, definitely take some photos and like tag me on Instagram and let me know that you've come down and had a look. Because, yeah, I just want to know who has seen it. So, yeah, this is more of my mum's work. She has a work in this gallery quite often because this is her local gallery. They live in Venice Bay, which is right near Tarwin Lower. And so she often has work available and, you know, sells her work quite frequently in this gallery. So she just has a bit more of a prominent collection there at the moment. But, yeah, she always has stuff down there. And, yeah. I was happy with how everything came together. A lot of these pieces, again, because I was planning on doing this show earlier next year, I hadn't really produced that much work yet, but I was able to sort of gather together enough pieces in the end to do it a bit earlier, so that was not so bad. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. So yeah, I'm just going to pop some music on, show you some footage of some of the artworks in the show, and do a bit of a walkthrough. So I hope you enjoy. Now, after all of that landscape painting over the last couple of weeks, I was a little tired of landscapes, so I started playing around with some still life just to get something different happening. I find that happens quite a lot when I focus a lot on one particular subject matter for a while. I tend to get a bit burnt out on that subject matter, and I just need to do something different. So it's, yeah. So I started doing this. This was just a sketch that I was doing based on a couple of different reference photos that I sort of stitched together. And this is just chalk pastel, and also I'm sort of painting here with water-soluble graphite, which I think I've shown in a couple other videos before. It's a really nice material to sort of work with the chalk pastels. I don't use chalk pastels a lot, actually. It's only something I've sort of recently started using in sketching because I kind of just, I don't know, I felt like drawing, which I don't know if I mentioned in the last video or not. I can't remember. It's been a while. But anyway, this was a sketch that I came up with, and I really loved it. I loved the energy. I loved the morning light that had. I loved all the textures, and of course my little kitty in the background. And so I decided to paint it. Paint a version of it in a very large canvas. I'm pretty sure I've never actually painted a still life this big before. It's about, oh gosh, I think it's at least a meter by 76 centimeters, I think. So this is the sketch, and I was basing it very much off this. And so I had the sketch up in front of me, and I was working directly on the canvas with acrylic and getting everything in place. I was very inspired by Bernard, and I wanted that really sort of interior morning scene of just everyday life happening. And, you know, I must say I'm very happy with this egg and toast. This is my favourite part of the whole painting. I adore it. I think it's absolutely adorable. Anyway, I kind of wanted to get that feeling of just like an everyday, you know, kind of snapshot and like a country cottage kind of feeling of just, you know, morning light and warm cups of coffee and a delicious breakfast, and that feeling of, you know, the day beginning and what's going to happen next in the day. And I kind of wanted to capture that feeling. And I was really trying to get a lot of texture and light, and I ended up painting, you know, making a few alterations. Like, for example, I ended up painting over this teapot and turning it into a vase because I felt as though compositionally it needed something a bit more in that corner that connected the table to the background a bit more. Like, there was the very big gap compositionally there. So I sort of decided to, yeah, pop some plants and some flowers and things in this and turn it into a vase rather than a teapot. And I think in the end that worked. It sort of helped connect the table to the background a bit more. But yeah, I was really trying to concentrate on creating very expressive marks with my brush strokes. I often have a habit of sometimes overpainting and starting very loose and expressive and then gradually tightening up. And I really want to try and avoid that. So I painted over a lot of these areas a few times just to sort of build up that texture of paint and those brush strokes in the painting, just to make it really interesting to look at. Because the thing is which I do with my landscape paintings, and I find it's a lot easier to do that with landscape paintings because you've got, you know, the texture of grasses and leaves and bark, and you can kind of layer up. But when there's flat areas like this, such as like this tablecloth, for example, it's sometimes challenging to add texture into that. Like, how do you add texture into a tablecloth that's flat? So I wanted to really force myself to make sure that I kept layering and building up the textures that I was wanting to put into this painting. This is a better angle to show you what I'm talking about in regards to this this vessel and having a bit more of a connection between the foreground and the background. So this corner was very blank otherwise. Like, I had a bit of that background wall and of course my cat sitting there, but there was no connection between the two. So I decided to put these flowers in, and I feel as though that filled this space with a bit more greenery as well and balanced it a bit better. So there was a few little adjustments that happened during the painting process, and it did vary a little bit away from the original sketch that I did. And again, when I was actually working from a photo reference that I had photoshopped together. So the cat is just a single photo. The table, half of the table was a Pinterest picture that I came across. The other half, where the nasturtiums are, was a different picture that I came across that I kind of cut and pasted onto the table. The vase that I'm painting in now never existed. The window in the background is another photoshopped element that I added in from and cut from another picture. So this place that I'm painting doesn't exist. It's a hodgepodge of a few different reference photos, but I really loved the shapes of the chair that was in the original reference photo that I used, that sort of bent wood chair, and I love that sort of pattern that it creates in the middle, again, ties the two areas together. And yeah, and that red chair in the background with my cat on it. I'm tempted to add my cat into every painting from now on, because he's my boy, and I just love that little sort of element. And again, that's a little nod to Bernard as well. Perry Bernard, he was always painting his pets. He had a lot of cats. He had a lot of dachshunds, like little sausage dogs, as pets. And when you look closely at his paintings, you will often see them peeking in the background, like just sitting in a door or sitting on a chair with the little head peeking over the table, or he's always trying to set them in. And so again, that was a little nod to him. And it's interestingly, I was watching a documentary on Bernard, because he's one of my favorite impressionist artists. And I was watching a documentary that was talking about the fact that he didn't actually paint from life. He actually, all of his paintings, well, most of his paintings are actually created back in a different room of his house, which he used as his studio. And so he would observe and maybe make little sketches of scenes just in pencil in his sketchbook. And then he would go back to his studio and actually paint from memory and paint from imagination, really. And so that's why his paintings have a very dreamlike quality to them, because they're not painted from a scene that he's standing in front of, which is a lot of impressionist artists would work from, what they're looking at. But he would actually rely a lot more on his intuition and his imagination and build the paintings up based on what he wanted, which was really interesting. And I actually watched that documentary after I painted this picture. And so I found that interesting as well, because that's kind of how I work as well. Like, I do work with a very... obviously, my paintings are very much inspired by what I'm seeing, but most of my paintings are actually made up. I'm not actually copying an exact reference. I'm not copying something that I'm directly looking at. I'll create sketches and drawings, and then when it comes to actually painting, whether it's this still life or landscapes or whatever it is, I generally sort of then paint from memory and intuition instead. And I never knew that Bonnard painted like that. I just presumed he was like every other impressionist, and he painted from, observation and, looking at what he was actually painting. But yeah, I found that really interesting. So yeah, just a bit of information there in case you didn't know. Anyway, this is the finished painting. This is what it ended up looking like. I think I could push this further, and at the moment I'm calling it finished. It has been signed. It is on my website. If I give myself the chance to look at it longer, I will probably end up fiddling with it. So I've kind of put it into another room, and it's facing the wall at the moment, so I'm not tempted to touch it.
So the last thing I wanted to share in this video is some sketchbooks. I have been working in these sketchbooks that I made for myself for a little while now. They are just different types of paper, really, like watercolour paper. This one was started back in June. This is a really good size, actually, this one. I think I'm going to make some more in this size because it's easier to carry around. These were just some sketches and things when I'm bored sitting in the car or traveling somewhere, testing out some colours. I had a bit of a thing for cows back then apparently. Some still life. A lot of these are done with these Arrtx brush markers that I talked about a few videos back. I may have even shown these pictures already, I'm not sure, I can't remember. Some sketches. This was out in the backyard burning off. Some garden waste, that's my son. Some planning. This was actually some sketch planning I did for a painting. That's our dog. My son again. This book's been sitting next to my seat in the lounge room as well. So sometimes I just pick it up and do some random sketching, some random portraits, some reference photos and things. Again, another painting plan. These are, again, sitting out in the backyard, burning off. We've got a bit of a fire here with the smoke burning off, and this is that corner of our house and our yard. Partner raking, again, another view of the house and the yard. My daughter's dog, another part of the house. Little still life. Oh, these are just some, I'm doing a new workshop starting next year, a new in-person workshop with Arty, where I'm teaching how to incorporate figures into paintings, mainly based off my series of paintings I did at the start of this year, the nostalgia series, and some narrative artworks that I was working on. I'm doing a workshop sort of teaching you how to take family photos and make them into paintings and into artworks and stylize them a little bit more and create more expressive, stylized narrative artworks. And so I was trying to, I'm still working on the lesson plan now, because this class is going to take a lot more, we're going to be focusing a little bit more on drawing and composition and actually learning how to sketch people, which is something I haven't really taught before. So I was just nutting out how to explain to beginners and people that don't have a lot of experience painting figures and drawing figures how to actually sketch in proportion. So the method I tend to use is the Loomis method, and using Loomis proportions, which basically it's a way of just setting everything out so that it fits proportionally. So like, for example, you sketch out whatever the head is, and then an average adult is between 7 to 8 heads tall. Teenagers are usually about 7. Kids will be about 6 heads tall. Toddlers will be only like 3 or 4 heads tall. So you can sort of work out roughly how to scale that. And so I was working on some sketches and some notes on how to actually teach that to people. So for example, here we've got like a child is roughly 5 heads high, basically. So I've kind of proportioned it out to work out 1 head, 2 head, 3, 4, 5 to get the scaling. And then a younger child, like a toddler, is usually only about 4 heads high. So their head in proportion to their body is a lot larger. So yeah, these were just sketches that I was trying to sort of nut out how to plan the lesson to teach people that. So that's what that was. And then yeah, just some random sketches. It's my daughter's little photo I took of her kitties. These are actually more recent sketches. I'm sort of planning and experimenting and thinking and brewing over the idea of creating some more landscapes that are a bit more abstracted and jungly, I guess, like a lot more foliage and focusing a bit more on like the undergrowth area rather than the trees. I still want some of the trees in the background, but I want to play around with more of the ferns, but I really want to abstract it a lot more. So I'm sort of working with negative space and different shapes. These are just pencil sketches. This sketchbook's nearly finished, but that's what these ones are. I might talk about that more in another video. This one here is another sketchbook that I started not that long ago. Again, I made this sketchbook. This has got slightly thinner paper in it. You can see it's gotten a bit bendy from using watercolour. But again, just some sketches of my cat, Bean, who features a lot. Just an interior scene. These were done plein air for one of the Expressive Mess Club videos. I filmed some plein air sketching in this sketchbook. So it's just watercolour and pen. Again, more watercolour and pen washes. Just a random still life. This was done from a photo I took in Tasmania. Again, most of these are combinations of watercolour, Arrtx pens, some paint pens as well. I haven't done that much in this one. I only just started it. Actually, I forgot I had this one. I think I had it in my sketchbook bag and then forgot about it. When did I start? Yeah, so I started this back in August, and then I put it in my bag and forgot about it and picked it back up again in November. Anyway, the reason why I'm bringing those out is because the company Arrtx, I think it's pronounced Arrtx, have actually sent me a couple of sketchbooks to try out. So these guys have been going around on YouTube channels and things quite frequently and a lot lately with their acrylic paint pens. They did send me some paint pens a little while back. They sent me a box of, I think it's 24 really large acrylic markers. And you sort of, you can shake them up and they've got like a real large wedge on them. And I have been using these. I haven't put them in a video. I did put them on Instagram and talked about them a little bit on Instagram. But I have actually been using these a fair bit for underpainting, for that first initial layer on canvas and blocking in colours. And they've actually been working really, really well as that first initial quick lay down of colour. But a lot of other YouTubers I've seen have been testing out these acrylic markers, like the thinner versions and more paint pen versions. And the reviews are always really, really good. People are loving them. Anyway, so after they sent me those, they reached out again and said, hey, do you want to try out our watercolour sketchbooks? And I said, I didn't even know that you had sketchbooks. And so the lovely contact that I've been speaking to said, well, let me send you some and you can try them out. And so I asked, she said there's a few different sizes. They've got hot press and cold press, but I just asked for I liked the idea of this little one and then the next one up, which is actually basically the same size as this one. And it's not too far off what I've been using here. I find that these sizes are really handy for me because I can just chuck them in my bag or in the car and they're not too awkward. And so I sort of asked for similar sort of sizes and this is what they sent me. So this one here is really sweet. This is actually, it's 98 mil by 30. So it's about 9 centimeters by 13 centimeters. So it's really cute. It's a 300 GSM hot pressed paper. There's 20 sheets or there's 20 pages in this one. And I really actually love the design of the covers. It's nice to actually have sketchbooks that have something on the covers. Often they're just plain or black or craft paper. So it's actually really nice to have a design. And the other thing that they mentioned when I was being spoken to about this is that they apparently lay flat. So yeah, they do. And there's perforated edges as well. So you can actually tear out the pages, which, I mean, personally, I don't think I would do that. But if you like to give away sketches in your sketchbook, then you can definitely tear these out and give them away, which, that would be nice. The paper seems really nice. It's quite thick. Yeah, so anyway, so there's this one. This is the same paper. It's just a bit bigger. So this is 14 by 21 centimeters, still 300 GSM. There's 24 pages in this one. These are both hot press because I prefer hot press paper when I'm sketching and painting just in general, whether it's on loose sheets of paper or in a sketchbook. I prefer the smoother surface of hot press paper. So that's why I chose these ones. But let's take this piece up as well. Again, really pretty cover. Different colours, nice leaf art surface as well. And again, yeah, these ones are perforated as well, so you can tear the pages out of this one too. So yeah, maybe I think I might save this one. I might put this in my handbag and maybe take this out somewhere another day because it's a very cute little size. And maybe I'll do a quick sketch in this one here just to sort of test out the paper because the paper's the same on either sketchbook, so it's not really going to matter which one I test out. It's going to be the same for both. So yeah, let's have a bit of a play around in this sketchbook. I'm out of my window. I can see some nasturtiums that have just started flowering in my garden. So I think I might do a sketch of those because that's what I can see in front of me. So let's I'll start sketching those, and then I might try some watercolor on this to see how the paper goes. So I'll probably put it into time lapse because yeah, I don't think I need to talk too much during this. I'll put it in time lapse and then I'll maybe do a voiceover. Sorry, I'm a bit indecisive today. Wow, this paper is actually really beautiful. I will admit I was not expecting it to be this nice. Not that there's anything wrong with this company, but it's like, you know, a little bit more on the affordable side and sort of student sort of side of art supplies, I would say, as far as pricing goes. But this paper is amazing. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. I mean, this is just a really quick sketch, but look at, you know, the beautiful, you know, the blooms and things that I'm getting with the watercolor. The texture of the paper is lovely. Like, this is like, I didn't have to put in any effort to do that whatsoever. So the watercolors I'm using as well, just for those that are interested, it's the Roman Smalls little mini urban sketches tin. That's what I've been using. And yeah, this is really nice. I just love, like, this is again the hot press paper. Is it's lovely and smooth. The pigment sinks in beautifully. There's no weird sort of finish on the paper at all. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised at how nice this paper is. It's hard to get it to show up properly on screen, but yeah, I have no problems recommending this at all. They did give me an affiliate link. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, if I wasn't happy with this paper, I was not going to use that affiliate link. But I am absolutely going to put that link in my description, and so that you can get a bit of a discount on this if you want to try it out, because I'm really impressed, like really, really impressed with the quality of this paper and how beautiful it is to paint with. And again, this is just watercolor. I haven't really tried anything else. Again, watercolor, and again, once again, the Arrtx Zig brushes, which are basically ink, water soluble ink brushes. Water-based dye ink. So it's these and just watercolor. I really like using these to add in like little darker touches. I find like these stay nice and dark. The problem with watercolor obviously is that it does dry a little bit lighter and you sometimes lose those darks. So I find these are really handy for then adding darks back in again with my sketches. But anyway, yeah, this is really lovely. Wow, I'm looking forward to actually using this more. I'm going to keep using it over the next month, and I'll come back again in another video and update the review and see if my opinion has changed. I imagine it hasn't, or I don't think it would have. I'm just going to try, this is a acrylic marker brush. It's just a generic brand. Just going to try a little bit of this on it as well, just to sort of show you how smooth the paper is. Like there's hardly any texture at all on this paper, which I love. I mean, I know a lot of watercolor purists prefer cold press because they like that cold press texture in paper, but I actually prefer hot pressed smooth surfaces. And so this is beautiful smooth paper. Like even that acrylic paint pen goes down really nicely. Let me just find a colored pencil. I've got my pencil roll here. I imagine pencil would work really well on this too, again, because it's very smooth. So let me just get pencil out. I have these are the Caran d'Ache Luminants, but let's see how these layer on top. Maybe a bit of, yeah, really nice. Just as I expected. Again, because there's very little texture, it's laying down really well. See if I can get this one. This is a Derwent Light Fast. It's in like a bit of a lighter colour. You get some reflections on here. Cool. I've got now another luminance. This one's sharper, so I can kind of get some more pencil texture happening. But yeah, this is I think this is going to work with a lot of really nice mixed media sketches and things, to be honest. It's really nice paper, which is good. Because like I said there, it's pricing wise, I would say they're very affordable compared to some of the other sketchbooks and things that I've purchased in the past that can be, you know, $50, $60, $70 for some really nice 300 GSM paper, which is a lot to pay for a sketchbook, I must admit, which is why I started making my own. Especially because I'm notorious for not finishing sketchbooks that I start. So I kind of, when I found that when I was spending like, you know, $60 or $70 on a sketchbook, I wouldn't want to use it because it almost felt a little bit too precious to me. And so I wouldn't use them. But this one's quite affordable. So yeah. See if I can get that to focus a bit. Are you going to focus for me, camera? There we go. So yeah, you get like the beautiful texture of the pencil in there as well. Again, this is the hot pressed version. I don't know what the cold press would be like. I imagine it would have a lot more texture to it. So yeah, just do with that information as you will. But yeah, this is really nice paper. Really nice sketchbook. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Arrtx, for that. There's links in the description to where you can get these. They are affiliate links, which just means that I will get a little bit of a kickback if you happen to purchase through that link. I don't care if you do or don't. That's totally up to you. I don't usually have affiliate links on my videos, so it's just there because it was given to me, and you guys may as well benefit from it. So yeah, you'll get a bit of a cheaper bargain with those. Anyway, that was fun. I'm going to definitely use this a lot more. I might take this outside and do some sketching over the next few days with it. Anyway, that's enough for this video. I think it's gone long enough. It's a bit of a catch up. And yeah, if I don't see you back before the end of the year, I hope you all have a lovely Christmas, end of year period, holiday period. I hope you get to see family and loved ones, and that you are being as creative as possible and enjoying your time. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye.